With the habit of practicing just 5 minutes daily, I can now read, write, and speak French. With the habit of reading just one page every night, I have been able to increase my reading list 5 times in the last 2 years. Basically, I have used daily small habits to produce long-term outcomes. Whenever I am putting any new habit, I use 4 principles. Whatever I have tried, these principles work everywhere. 1. Start small, repeat a tiny habit daily. When some years ago I started focusing on putting good habits first, then the biggest mistake I had to ask for myself was to ask for a lot. Where I did not read anything, I used to think about reading a book every week. Or where I used to wake up at 9 in the morning, he would decide to get up at 6 a.m. every morning. Where I was and where I wanted to reach, the distance between them was so much that I often failed. And every failure makes it difficult to succeed next day. Finally, I got the idea of starting a small one. The point is that it should be taken into consideration that the habit is being repeated every day, but do not worry about how habit is effective. In other words, first quantity then quality. A very good example is flossing. Flipping equals cleaning between threads between teeth. Suppose that you want to floss every night, but you've never flossed over the years. If you intend to flossing suddenly and hope that you do it for 10 minutes every night, it probably will not last for more than a week. This is a very big goal. But how effective is it to start small? It's almost like superpower. See how it will work for flossing. Take the smallest part of the habit you want to make. In this case, they simply have to floss a tooth. Even then, this will be called flossing. However, in this way you will not be able to improve your dental hygiene very much. But it gets powerful like this. First, you just focus on flossing a tooth every night. And you do this for a week. Then do it for 2 to 3 weeks. You can just stick to a tooth to flush a tooth because it is so easy. There is hardly any effort to floss a tooth, so there is no excuse for not doing it. And once a tooth floss becomes easy and automatic, then you start doing 2. For some time you floss 2 teeth every day. Then you do 3. And gradually you increase numbers. Never try to do so much so that they become a difficult task. By starting small, you focus on making the behavior automatic. You are not worried that by doing so, you will get a very useful outcome. As Scott H. Young says, we overestimate this thing, that how much can be done, especially when we are going to do something unknown. Scott suggests that to stay realistic, plan such that you will be able to give 20% of the time you want to give. Now I would like to tell how in 2015 I used the start small process on my habits. 2. Focus on one habit at a time. While making a new habit, one of the hardest things for me to do is try to form several habits together. For all the things I want to fix, I always have a grand plan and I am so full of energy that I want to form several habits together. Every time I try this approach, I've failed. Often, some habits cannot be put off, but sometimes it does not even happen. Focusing on so many things together becomes very much just like some multitasking, where your brain has to constantly context switch because you cannot focus on many things at once. So my new rule is working at just one habit at one time. Only when the habit becomes so automatic that I can do it easily every day, only then I start to form a new habit. Take the example above. I used to read every night before focusing on French. And before I used to get up early in the morning, I used to read French every morning. Occasionally, building a habit can take a very long time. Taking the habit of getting up early in the morning was something like that which had to be struggled so consistently to me. I spent about 4 months to put this habit, putting different approaches, keeping track of my progress, and reporting to my friends who helped me stay accountable. I was determined that I had to make it a consistent habit, but that meant it was not months to build any other new habit. Today I am happy that I gave so much time to get up early in the morning, because now I get up early every morning without any effort. It was not that easy, but it was worth the effort. It will vary in how much time it takes you to add a habit, so the time of 4 months can be long or short for you. We often hear about this idea that it takes 21 days to build a habit, but studies have shown that all of us take different time in putting new habit. It has been found in the study that on making new habit form, on average an average of 66 days, about 2 months. The lessons I have learned take every habit in a different way, depending on how hard it is for you to remain constantly standing on that habit, and focus only on one at a time, so that it will focus your attention and energy. So to receive. 3. Remove barriers, have everything you need at hand. I find it very easy to complete my habits when things to complete it are close to me. For example, having a phone at the time of drinking coffee, making habit to make a quick French lesson at that time makes it very easy. Keeping the book next to the bed makes reading enough to be enough at the time of bedtime. Malcolm Gladwell says it's tipping point. This is a small change that prompts you to leave the excuses and take action. A great example of the power of the tipping point is found in the university's tetanus education program. The study was conducted whether more students vaccination by showing the fear of tetanus. There was no difference from showing fear, but a surprising change drew a lot, pointing the health centers, mapping the university campus and telling the timing. The vaccination rate ranges from 3% to 28%. Tipping point is a small change that makes it easy to take action. I like to see it as such that it is like removing barriers that make habits easy to follow. A habit that I want to put in 2016 is more often playing piano. Now when the mood is done then I play it, which is not enough to be better. But I have noticed that when the piano is easily accessible, then I play it more. At this time it is in the corner of our dining area, so I can wait to cook something and sit easily and play it. Another habit, which I want to focus this year, is regular exercise. I have noticed that once I wear my exercise clothes, it is almost certain that I will go out to run out, but unless I'm wearing clothes, it is very easy to find excuses not to go outside. Before taking the night out of the exercise clothes and wearing them early in the morning, before I feel like an excuse, help me out early in the door. When I focus on this habit, I will plan to do all this regularly. 4. Stack habits, build new routines onto existing ones. A favorite way of making new habits is to put new habits on top of old habits. This makes many habits come in routine, and every habit works as a trigger for the next habit. The coolest part of it is that you already have many habits that you do not realize. Brushing before bedtime, getting out of the morning bed, making coffee every day at the same time, these are all present habits. As long as you feel free to do any work at the same time, you can come up to that habit and put habit. If you do your new habit after completing your old habit, then you can rely on your current habit strength to keep your new habit on track. For example, when I get out of bed in the morning, the first thing I do is to go down and make coffee. When my coffee is formed, I start my French lease. My exiting habit of making coffee works as a trigger to complete the French lease. And when I go to sleep at night, I open the book. Going to bed and watching the book acts as a trigger to read the book at night. Research shows that having a hint to work on a new habit is probably the best way to stay on that habit. When you combine the habitats together, the old habit, what you want to build new habit works for the signal. Over time, you can put your new habits on old habits and take advantage of what is already your automatic behavior. Building new habits has become like a hobby for me. It is very exciting to think that by repressing small habits every day, I can improve my skills over time. It seems quite achievable to achieve huge achievements.